Welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, KK Kaneshiro. The mission of the Fremont Unified School District Board of Education is to provide opportunities that educate, challenge, and inspire students of all ages, talents, and ability levels, while preparing each with the skills required to adapt and succeed in the ever-changing world. The 5-member elected governing body works closely with the Fremont Unified School District staff and students to share policy and provide direction for the district. The school board is currently transitioning, welcoming 2 new members, and naming a new president and new vice president to 2015. Joining us today to discuss what the community can expect from the board in the upcoming months is President Desrie Campbell and Vice President Ann Crosbie, and of course, my famous co-host, Dr. Jim Morris. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you for inviting us.
Now, for anyone out there who has never been to a school board meeting, what can you just tell them the basic, define what does a school board do? What do you guys do?
Sure. Well, the school board really are elected officials who are elected from the community. And I think probably one of the most important things is that they really are servants of the community, to really be the voice of the community and the power of the community to make sure that the school district is operating correctly. Really, you think about it, the school board's responsible for a over $200 million budget to make sure that our schools are functioning in the interest of kids.
And this school board works with you to make sure everything's being laid out right, correctly?
That's correct. Okay. And in the corporate world, it would be board of directors and the superintendent's the CEO.
Okay.
Okay. Just making sure that the community's dollars are spent wisely and to the best that they can be for education.
Okay.
In addition to funding, we do policy. We set policies that ensure that students are achieving academically. We help with staffing, human resources, and so we have a variety of functions here at the school board.
Okay, good. Now, for anyone who does not know you, Ms. President, what is your background and what made you decide to run for the school board?
Okay. I am a native of Washington, D.C., and so my original career was on Capitol Hill. So when I was very young, I was in local politics in Washington, D.C., and then I moved to California. I've been a small business owner, of human resources, and so I have a real strong background in policy and setting policy and understanding what it takes to be a politician. So I'm really excited that I could take that experience and be here with Fremont Unified.
Nice.
Yes.
So tell us about you. What was your background and what made you decide to run? Because running an election is not easy.
No, it's a lot harder than you would think, or most people realize. I am actually the daughter of educators. My parents are both educators. I grew up in Southern California, so I'm been in California since I was 7. And education's something I grew up with, and it's something that's always been of interest to me. So I have 4 children, so being involved in Fremont Unified, you sort of see things, and I've always been somebody that's sort of a family value. You jump in, you help, you don't just criticize, you see how you can make things better. So I've been working to do that in Fremont Unified, and then saw that there was a need and thought that I had something to contribute.
Nice. Well, welcome, and congratulations to your new positions.
Oh.
Now, in this new this new school year, you have 2 brand new board of
Education.
Board of Educators. How are you helping them to assimilate into this new world of theirs? Because they have a learning curve to learn about all the policies you guys created, learning the budget, learning to do everything that you guys are already experienced with. So how do you help them?
So one of the things that we're going to be doing, well, we have 1 new seated board member, and then we will be making an appointment for the next board member. We haven't done that yet. We won't be doing that until January the 21st.
Okay.
And then we are thinking of having we actually are going to have a retreat, a board retreat, where we will be, Dr. Morris and I and the executive staff will be talking about goals and visioning and what it means to be be a board member, and I will talk a little bit about how the boards, the meetings are run, and sort of some of the expectations, and get some feedback and some input from our fellow board members on how we can effectively govern the Fremont Unified School District.
I think one of the biggest challenges as well coming into education is they have alphabet soup. Everything is an acronym. So that's, I think, one of the biggest challenges for somebody coming in is making sure we slow down, that they feel comfortable to say, I don't know what an SST is, I'm sorry. And so having that congeniality that you can say, oh yeah, absolutely, let's slow down, let's make sure they understand, because it's a huge learning curve, I think.
And you really look at any of the board agendas and the breadth of what a board member needs to know. It's a huge learning curve for anyone. And you really think about it, you know, the board is really responsible for setting policy and direction, budget, hiring and firing of personnel, particularly the superintendent, but really responsible for, you know, 33,000 students. I mean,
we're the largest employer in Fremont Unified, which I don't think most people understand. And so, and people come to the board for a variety of reasons with a lot of different backgrounds. So you may or may not have been heavily involved in Fremont Unified and know sort of background on different things that have taken place. So it's making sure that they have all that background information.
And you do think before you get on the board, before you're actually a seated member of the board, that you do have some experiences, some backgrounds, and some interests, but you have to throw all of that out. When you become a board member, it is completely different than anything that you would have anticipated.
So it was not what you expected.
Oh, no, absolutely not. It was not what you expected, because it requires a lot of attention to details. It requires a lot of relearning and rethinking in terms of decision making and how you process information. Time.
So is it like cramming for finals before each school board meeting, just to make sure that
all the time?
Really?
Yes, pretty much. You get packets, and you have to.
How long have you been on the board now?
For both of us, 2 years.
Okay, so what was your learning curve? After a full year, did you finally grasp everything, or was it shorter for you to learn everything?
I'm still learning.
You're still learning.
I'm still learning. I'm going into my 3rd year, and there are still things that I feel that I could learn more about, that I need to know more about, and so I don't think that we ever really stop learning, because there is so many moving parts to what we do.
I think for me, I think I felt comfortable right away because I had already been on a lot of different commissions and things like that. But I think that the difference is that the data is always changing. So even if you're totally comfortable and knew the groundwork, there's new numbers all the time. The growth, I mean, and the budget, thank you, State of California, all of that is constantly changing. So even if you feel like you are on solid ground, then the ground changes all the time. So.
And you really think that, coupled with some of the structures may be, you know, and from someone may have background in the corporate world they can bring into education, but you really think of the service that we're providing, right? We are providing a service, educating the most precious thing in the world to the parents who entrust their children to us, and in a world that's constantly changing. So what we do as educators has to constantly be changing. The new Common Core standards, new kinds of assessment, new technology. And as a board member, you really have to be up to date on that. Yes, you can be a great numbers cruncher. That's fine. But you have to know what's happening. What's the best way to educate children? It's pretty amazing when you think about the number of issues you have to know about.
Well, and learn about policy.
And I agree, the landscape changes so frequently. We're in an environment where the buzzword is the 21st century learning. And so we have to think, I mean, even when it comes to our facilities, and we pass the bond, and so when we start to look at what the facilities are going to look like in the future, it's going to be totally different. So we have to keep abreast of just the smallest little thing. What is an effective classroom environment to really teach our kids in? And that's that's totally different than what it would look like in the corporate world.
Yeah.
Right. I think that there's so many, with that, there's so many different moving parts. It's really easy to get off into the weeds and then so you're constantly, and we're lucky to have Desrie, because I think she will really help us stay on track of, okay, wait, you know, what's our mission here? What are we trying to get done? What are we trying to achieve? And I think that that's going to be a very important conversation for us to have in our visioning session to discuss, okay, where are we going and where do we want to be? Right. And always have that in mind, so that if we're getting off here because something's come up, it's like, oh, wait, pull it back.
So for anyone watching who is now interested, can anyone attend these board meetings?
Yes.
The general
Short answer, yes.
Okay. And when are the board meetings?
They are the second and fourth Wednesdays
of each month.
Each month,
Okay.
Generally.
Generally, okay.
Yes.
But they can always go to the website just to double check to make sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And we would love to have people attend. In addition, they are telecasts so that you can watch them from home if you're not able to get in, because they can run kind of late. Got a lot of business to take care of.
Comcast Channel 26 and webcast on the district's website, so you can go and watch it live from home. It is the every other Wednesday night entertainment
that you can't miss.
I mean, you just don't want to miss.
There you go.
That's right.
When with the advent of email too, you know, we hear from people and what they think, and I think that that's important. We want to know, because we're serving the community. So, you know, what are your thoughts on what's going on?
Okay.
For sure.
Now, there's people out there watching us who have no children and say, you know, what has this got to do with me? What would you say to that?
Lordy.
Because I know what I'd say.
No, I think that it absolutely. I was like, don't even get me started. If you're looking at the motion of the state of California and economically, if we are not educating our citizenry, there's no way we're going to be able to continue to drive this machine. And especially because we have an aging population, these children, if they're not well educated and well employed, they're not going to be contributing to society and making sure that we have the funds for retirement for others.
Perfect.
And to add to that, I think the thing that makes Fremont most attractive as a community, a place to live, is excellent schools, high property values, because we have good
That's my
schools.
argument.
Well, and I think that we have, it's like I keep telling people, it's a new day in Fremont. The partnerships that we're having between our local businesses and the city and the schools is just phenomenal. I just don't think anywhere can compare with what we have in Fremont.
Of course not.
Okay. and
you agree?
I do.
As a board member, I no longer have kids in a school district, but I'm hoping to have grandkids in the school district sometime soon.
No pressure, kids.
And so, but I do think as a community member and not having kids in the school district, it's still very important to me that I contribute to educating the next generation of our kids.
Right.
I mean, because that is going to be critical. They're going to be the ones that are going to be making sure that I'm safe in my old age. So I definitely want them to be educated. I mean, there's going to be the next doctors who are going to be treating me when I'm, when I'm in the hospital and maybe in the nursing home. I'm taking it a little far, but you get my point, though.
Well, and beyond that, it's like if we're in a situation where we've benefited from our school system, we've had a good education, we've, benefited from that, we now owe it to the next generation to turn around and do that for them.
Now, with that said, what are the upcoming plans you can talk about? Anything new and exciting?
In the school district?
That you guys are going to work
lordy.
Well, we always get. Well, I'm really excited about the bond measure that just passed and what we're going to be able to do for our schools in terms of upgrading them and what we're going to be able to do for technology and being able to get our testing and our data that we talked about earlier. And so we're really, really excited about being able to complete that and how our kids are. And because I think one of the things that the board is very concerned about is local seating for our kids. We want our kids to be able to go to their neighborhood schools. And so we're hoping that this bond measure will help us be able to achieve that goal. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I think that I don't think it's a given, especially if you looked at how things went for other school districts, that the communities have that faith to to trust their school districts to spend money wisely and pass such a large bond.
Right.
And I think, you know, we don't take it for granted that they're putting their trust in us and that we're going to make that happen. And even though, I mean, Larry Sweeney has been on the board for a while, so it's part of, he can take credit for part of that. We're all new board members, but because of the way they have behaved in the past, we are benefiting from that faith.
Nice.
And so, yeah.
Yes, that's
we'll
very
get a
true.
lot done.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, when you have incoming or new board members coming in, do you sit with them and also help educate them or mentor them and what these acronyms mean? You know, because I'm sure you guys do, but do you take an active participation in that?
Yes, we meet with people before they come to the board, and then once they're elected, I try to have weekly or bi-weekly, depending on at their convenience, meetings with board members. But the board also has some structures in place. We have a board budget subcommittee, for example, that we try to steer new board members to be on the budget subcommittee, because that's really complicated. And I think as a group, as a leadership team, the superintendent and the assistant superintendents and the other board members, we try to rally around new members of the family and kind of bring them into the fold and help them learn, but also to learn from them, because each new board member who comes to the district, we learn a lot from them too, because it's a fresh perspective, a different set of eyes to look at issues differently and add value to the team, because that really is the strength of the structure. Is it's a team that works together.
Yeah,
I think this district is wonderful in that when we have questions, when we have concerns, we can go to the different departments and meet with people and say, okay, I don't really understand how this is happening, and instead
that's
of
awesome.
We do.
Instead of having people be like, oh my God, what is she doing here? You know, this is a hole in my day or whatever. They're always extremely welcoming, super excited to see us, and want to talk about what they're doing, which I think is a huge compliment. You know, people love what they're doing here. They like working here.
Now, this is just I have to ask this question because I've always been curious. I know your board meetings can run, you know, late at night, but I know you have a full-time job. So is your job forgiving that you're coming in a little late on Thursday?
Yeah, actually, they very much so.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Okay.
I am very lucky in that respect that I have the flexibility to be able to do that.
That's great.
Yeah, it is great.
I'm really hoping with some of our conversations in our visioning and our retreat that we're doing, that we can have some conversations about making our meetings more efficient, though, because although we may be able to, you know, sleep in or whatever, we have people who work with us who have to be up and sharp and moving the next day, and it's not fair to them to have things run late. So I think that's going to be part of the conversation.
Definitely, we are going to have the conversation.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate this. We're so excited for you and you too. This is great. But from everyone here at Community Conversations, we appreciate you watching, and we will see you real soon.